Hi guys, this is Sid Cool with my bad English and the worst video quality on YouTube ever, always providing my small audience with some fresh Nintendo Switch indie game honest reviews. BROK the InvestiGator is a point-and-click beat-em-up indie game self-published and developed by independent French game studio COWCAT Games, using GameMaker Studio 2. The game was successfully crowdfunded through Kickstarter and released on Steam last year, while on 1st March it will be released on this generation consoles as well. BROK the InvestiGator is a point-and-click adventure game, which incorporates beat-em-up side-scrolling action and role-playing elements.
Leah! It's used her legacy.
BROK the InvestiGator is the name of the game. It's not chosen at random, but upon two specific reasons. First, the investigator ends like the alligator. BROK is a gator, okay, I got it. And second, because BROK is the start of the word brocodile. BROK is a brocodile. Okay, I got this one as well. BROK lost his fiancée a few years ago in an incident that doesn't look like an incident, and since then he's living with her son, named Graf, which he then adopted. While BROK is a gator, Graf is a cat, and that's completely fine in a world that is set in a futuristic, light, cyberpunk era where anthropomorphic animals have replaced humans. Rich animals live under a dome that preserves them from ambient pollution, while poor ones stand outside and do their best to survive. BROK is poor, so he stands outside the dome. He works as an investigator and doesn't make much money. BROK's house is a mess. The cleaning robot is broken and BROK cannot repair it yet. It's part of a side quest. Graf, his missing wife's son, is lured into video game. Graf is lazy and doesn't care much about any stuff. At the beginning, BROK and Graf don't talk much together, and you can really feel the vacant spot left by the missing wife. Progressing through the story, Graf will soon be a usable character, and you'll be able to swap between BROK and Graf. It's not the best, nor the most original feature in a game ever, but it works for creating new puzzle and fun useful combination.
No, the ground!
BROK the InvestiGator is cartoonishly drawn in a style very similar to the Disney comics of the late 80s, early 90s. It really feels like BROK just came out of Duckburg, and the investigator might be the missing cousin of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. The atmosphere in BROK is instead quite different from the Disney ones. BROK will face some much more adult issues compared to its Mickey Mouse relatives. Especially, BROK will reflect on his action and the events happening a lot. While talking with an NPC, you will often have the option to think, a simple button that will make BROK reflect over the last information gathered and give you a few clues about how to continue the story. Dialogue by dialogue, you will get to know BROK and his friend NPCs and notice how their personality will develop through the story. There's no filler dialogue, each and every line is useful and sounds like a completely normal conversation between two completely normal anthropomorphic animals. And dialogues are voice acted. There are over 23,000 lines voice acted, which kinda unusual to see in an indie game and will help you to feel part of the story. In BROK the InvestiGator you will talk to NPCs, get clues and items, and use those clues and items to move up into the story and unfold the whole story. That's what any narrative game does, but BROK does more. BROK can fight. Barefaced fighting since he's a pugilist, and if he wins, he gets experience points. More fight, more wins, more experience points, and thus more levels. Just like any main character would do in an RPG. Fighting is the real deal of the game, the pinnacle, the cherry on the top, the ultimate feature that should push BROK the InvestiGator over most of the other narrative titles. But does it? The answer is completely subjective and totally depends on your habits and needs. I got the habit to get bored while playing narrative titles. I can stand and enjoy one really good narrative title per year, and it's really hard to find one since the genre is overwhelmed by low to mediocre quality titles and indie developers are flashing loads of brand new point-and-click indie games.
I like this job.
What do you mean?
Like, this morning, there was this big man. I was worried he would...
When I enjoy a narrative point-and-click title, it's rarely a recent one. Do you remember any narrative point-and-click title during their golden age? I mean the ones by LucasArts like Maniac Mansion or The Secret of Monkey Island, or Foodraft and The Schnibble of Azimuth by Sierra Online. Those were the titles. Those are the roots of the point-and-click genre and are also masterpieces that could still serve as a comparison for newer titles. While I have to sincerely admit that graphics got better through the years, and I also admit that graphics matters quite much in a melee narrative title, I take no risk in claiming that over 95% of new point-and-click titles cannot stand the comparison with the gold standard masterpieces set in the late 80s, early 90s.
Sin's name. Maybe I should give him a...
That's why I enjoy the beat-em-up and RPG elements BROK the InvestiGator has, because even if fights aren't well done, they still help me get rid of my boredom while progressing through a mostly narrative title. So yeah, in conclusion, fights aren't good, but it's good that there are fights. BROK the InvestiGator is pleasantly drawn. The story isn't life-changing, but it's surely enjoyable and has a few interesting twists that you'll discover once you progress further into the game. Dialogues are fluid and natural, some of them are funny while most of them will serve to develop NPC's characterization and lure you more and more into the world of BROK the InvestiGator. The use of the items, the puzzle part, is sometimes not intuitive, but it works and is the primary challenge you'll face while playing BROK, as you would expect from a narrative point-and-click title. There are fights, and the fighting part is something you might enjoy or not. It can be a good way to set a pose into the narrative and give you some of the action the genre is missing, but at the same time, fights can be an unneeded break that will slow down the pace of the story. Fights can be turned off through a menu option, so I can't really list them as a con to play in the game. Instead, fights are indeed a plus, whether you want to use them or remove them. BROK the InvestiGator is sold on the Nintendo eShop for €25 and can also be found on Steam for $20 and in the PlayStation and Xbox store. If you already watched any of my honest review, you should know it's pretty rare for me to rate positively an indie game, but this time I really have to. Depending on how much you like narrative point-and-click games, BROK the InvestiGator could really be a good boy. It does the job and it's worth the money time you'll spend in too. Just make sure to play some Monkey Island sooner or later.
Without searching through it, I can see it perfect to get drunk.
This was Sid. Thank you for watching my honest review of BROK the InvestiGator. If you like indie games and or you have a Nintendo Switch, you might want to sub to this channel to keep you updated with the latest release and catch some honest review that might save your pocket from a bad purchase. Bye bye!